Damn, what is up with the squad? It's Cess, your favorite auntie with Uncle Tennessee's in the building. I got political Lil here. Y'all know what it is. It's Cess Talk Sports, B-Wise, Poly Sports, tea time. We finna get into this, y'all. Today, the topic today, fabulous topic, man. Lil always come with a banger. Lil always come with a banger. So we're gonna get into this NIL. We're gonna talk we're gonna talk black wealth today. MJ in the lab. Kia High Life was good. Groovy, what's happening? Let's talk NIL, y'all. Y'all know it's Poly Sports tea time. So we're gonna break down politics, economics, power plays that shape the game. We in our Gaslight NIL series, the rise of NIL and the new black athlete economy, politics, power, and the plantation pushback. And so this is where we got sports meeting survival and strategy meeting freedom. And this is where the community got to be able to fight back. So I'm going to be dropping some questions in the chat. Y'all let us know in the chat what y'all think about these questions. I think for too long, the wealth from the black athletic talent has filled everybody else's pocket but ours, right? Everybody been getting rich off us. We lived through decades of exploitation. And we sticking with our conversation around William C. Rhoden's book, for the $40 million slave era. Our bodies were on the line. The ownership, control, legacy denied. Don't even think about it. You ain't about to own nothing. Shut up and play ball for real. But with NIL, a new generation is kind of flipping the script, and it's so fun to watch, right? I love the creativity and the clapbacks that they come with, and how they just standing on business and not even realizing it, right? They're empowered in a way that we haven't been empowered, and I love the way that they're embracing it. Like and share, thank you very much. Five of y'all, like and share this thing. Like and share, they both right there. And then five of y'all share this out and put share it in the chat. Angel Reese, Shador Sanders, Flaw J. Johnson, we'll just start with them. They're building brands, they're securing deals, and then they're creating a generational wealth the system never wanted us to have. They didn't want us to have it so much that they are doing anything they can, issuing executive orders to get a cap back on this thing. They like, hey, wait a minute, this turned into something we didn't want it to be. They didn't think it was gonna go like this. You gonna take the money and buy 20 acres? Hold on. You mean they not just buying jewelry and cars and no, guns and butter, baby. Guns and butter. If you know, you know. Baby boy, drop some jewels now. If you know, you know. Guns and butter, baby. They buying stuff that appreciates in value. Never mind. Okay, now I'm talking too much sense. Okay. But the shift is sparked fear. I mean, backlash and the plantation kind of pushback that's weird to watch. So over 6 episodes, we're going to peel back every layer from economic liberation that NIL makes possible if used right to the racialized attempts to restrict and shame the young black athletes for daring to profit off their own likeness. Like, how dare you? But of course, y'all know these conversations are always bigger than basketball, bigger than sports. This is about building black wealth, Black Wall Street 2.0. Creating the infrastructure so that the community can capture, invest, and multiply wealth. It's not just for the stars of today, for the generations to come. So, and y'all know how it is. I'm never breaking this one down alone. With me is the co-host who always bring the heat, the truth, and no filters. Political Lil, what's up?
Hey. Look, thank you, Auntie Cess, and thank you, fam, for joining us and giving us an ear to this conversation. Look, this NIL conversation is not just about sports contracts. It's about power, politics, and protection. What we're seeing right now is a moment that could reshape the black economy for decades. And because of that, it becomes a battleground. Every time black athletes step into their own power, whether it's cashing $1 million endorsements or launching a family business or just daring to control their own image, here comes the system, responding with fear tactics, policy roadblocks, and media narratives designed to keep us in line. Now think about this. Nick Saban linked up with 47 to talk NIL, resulting in an executive order to have one of the biggest auditing tax consulting agencies diluting to monitor and approve our NIL deals over $600. That's just too much government oversight and designed to make sure the taxes are paid to the Treasury Department. If I know 47, that's his slush fund. That's not just about recruiting. That's about maintaining an old system of control. So when media celebrates some athletes while attacking others, That ain't accidental either. That's politics at play. And when schools, boosters, and even entire conferences try to rein in the NIL, it's because they know the money is shifting. It's shifting from their hands into ours. They don't like that one. That's why this series matters so much. We're not just here to clap for big contracts and repost brand deals on Instagram. We're here to ask, how do we build an ecosystem? I'm talking about our community that keeps the money circulating in our community. How do we turn NIL into a business, scholarship foundation, and institutions that the system will try to find ways to strip it, but will, you know, outlast the career of the court, you know, that these athletes are playing on. You know, we don't want to build an infrastructure that's, you know, repeating history and allowing the money to our black labor to create white wealth. You know, we already know the system going to attack us. They're going to always try to find a way to strip this moment away from us. But that's the work and that's the fight. And that's what we're going to dig into, starting with our first segment today.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of what Unrivaled did. It kind of shook the system up, right? Like, it made people think a different way. It opened people's eyes to, you don't just have to do the same old, same old. You know, and I remember how crazy people thought Ed and Charles O'Bannon were.
Mm-hmm.
Way back when. Those of y'all that's old enough to remember when this name, image, likeness fight started. I mean, man, years of no NCAA football on PlayStation because of this fight. Like, it really became an issue. So Ed said, "Hey man, y'all keep using my name, image, likeness. Give me something, maybe something." But let's set the stage. 2005, John Hope Franklin, a historian, said there was hope that a new generation of athletes will use their wealth and influence to create a desperately needed economy for Black folks left on the margins. And I don't think that was a dream. It was a challenge, right? So then we got William C. Rhoden's $40 million slave, and explained to us that the system really was built to control us, not enrich us. So for decades, we've had Black athletes filling up stadiums, driving TV deals. They built $1 billion industries, shoes, equipment, tourism. I mean, all kind of stuff being built off of people just coming to see this excellence on the field, and still walking away broke or insufficiently compensated. That wasn't oversight. That was policy by design. Now we got the name, image, likeness. Woo! NIL entered the game. Let me tell you, for the first time, young Black athletes are being allowed to touch some of the wealth they've been generating. Just a little bit. They're touching a little bit of it right now. But NIL is not just about endorsements or sneaker photos. If you do it right, it's a launch pad for economic transformation. I can't remember the young man's name. Somebody took his NIL deal and launched a hotel, opened him up a hotel chain. You can be real creative with what you do and how you partner, right? Juju partnering with NerdWallet. I don't know if she gets any money out of that, but the access that she has to financial literacy, financial guidance around her as she grows her brand, phenomenal, right? Dr. Claude Anderson said the same in Black Labor, White Wealth in mid 1990. Okay, FM, right? I think we talked about Dr. Claude Anderson's book as well. Yeah, check out some of this stuff. But capital for investment, seeds for businesses, bricks to build a new Black Wall Street. That vision doesn't happen by accident. It takes an infrastructure, it takes education, and it takes a collective consciousness that don't see athletes just as highlight reels. Like, we got to see them as leaders of Black economic excellence and a Black economic renaissance. Like, we got to be able to see them like that. These young people. And some of us walk around and you act like a young person can't tell you nothing. Not watching these young people. I didn't go to college and leave, you know what I'm saying, with $1 million in the bank and 20 acres. I didn't. And so I want to be able to learn from them. I want to be able to take advantage of that. And of course, the pushback is already here. Every time Black folks put money, power, and freedom in the same sentence, somebody go to count their coin. The system moves to shut it down. You see power players. Nick Saban, 47, plotting on NIL restrictions, counting people's coin, floating the executive order to impose a salary cap on how much money I can make off my name, my image, my likeness. you gonna cap how much I can make. Anything over $600, we need to know about it. Why? We don't know about how much people make when they do these speaking engagements. Do they pass that through some kind of approval system? I don't know. It's weird. The translation to that, though, is we're fine with black talent on the field, just not the black wealth off of it. And this ain't about the sports paycheck. This is control versus liberation. Plantation economics versus black power. So y'all get ready. This fight is about finance, freedom, and our future. So I got some questions. Nick Saban can make what he can get, but the kids had to have a cap. Yeah. And as soon as the kids got to make some money, Nick didn't want to play no more. See, that's the other thing. Now I get to make some money too. You gonna pack up and go home? This ain't the game no more. Now the sandbox closed. Sandbox ain't cool no more. Now you on the merry-go-round. No, I can't get on the merry-go-round. Everybody got time for all that. Everybody can play with them. Go ahead, Lil.
He didn't have dibs on all the talent. Now you got a coach.
Well, I mean, yeah. Now because it ain't just about the facilities. It's about the access. It's about the opportunities. It's about I can go and build somewhere else. Me and my homies can stay home. Staying home became something that people could do too. Look at some of these teams. Look at some of these teams coming up. South Carolina had a really good football season last year. Looking for them to build on that this year. Skull Buffs. Prime ain't playing with them. Prime not playing with them. He messed around and win the conference this year. And really be in the playoffs. Really be in the hunt for a bowl game. That's pressure. But let's start here. John Hope Franklin called on athletes to build an economy for our people. So do you really see NIL as the answer to that vision, Will, or is it still too early to tell?
You know what? It's definitely a step towards his vision, because it gives athletes direct access to wealth that they generated. And that's something that's never existed before. But of course, we're still early in the game, and without education, infrastructure, intentional reinvestment, that potential won't automatically turn into no lasting economic movement. But it is a launching pad. It's just not the finish line. I'm shocked, dismayed that we haven't had some of these civil rights organizations like the NAACP nor the Urban League that have come forth and put some kind of structure in place to catch these young people at the high school level and start, arranging with partners, education, NIL conferences, symposiums yearly, to educate both the parents and the athletes in the community. I have my beautician's son, they fighting all over him. He's about 6'6", almost 280, and playing football. He getting offers every which way Sunday, every major college. And Ole Miss is really on his trail. She had never heard of NIL because I was asking her about the deal. I was like, well, what they talking about giving, for the NIL?
How it work?
Like,
yeah.
What is that? I said, what you going to football meetings every Monday over at the Catholic school for? And they not talking about NIL. I said, that's the only thing y'all need to be talking about. She said, well, all they talking about is a scholarship. Now they getting ready to rake you over the coals if you don't educate yourself about what's happening. So, I turned her on to some books and videos and different things to try to help her get going, so that her son doesn't get down there and get shook and took,
Oh, absolutely. They want you to.
But these political organizations, these civil rights organizations, they need to come on and make a move.
Let me tell you something. It's time for new black leadership. And I don't mind if it's new young black leadership. Tell me who the black leaders. Every time I look up and they say it's a black leader, there's some kind of scandal or some kind of scam that they done ran on somebody. I'm so sick of that. Where is the real black leaders that really want to see? Like, you gotta have people that really genuinely want to see the next generation do better. I done lived my life. I'm a sum of the decisions that I made. And now, the product of the rest of the work that I put into this, right? So that's where I'm at in life. And I didn't learn some expensive lessons, some cheap lessons, some free lessons, but I'm here to share them, right? Because that's what I'm supposed to do. But Ain't nobody raising their hand. Everybody too cool. All these kids, they so quick to tell me who these kids aren't. You ain't even spend no time with them. That also is a narrative that I push back on heavily. Stop telling me about what these kids ain't ready for, what they don't do. They just in their phone. They in their phone because what else have you told them to do? They whole life you been telling them go watch TV, go sit down somewhere, get out. Come on now. If you had raised them up, to have conversations, to ask questions, to engage, then they would still be doing those things as teenagers and adults. You ain't raise them up like that, and that's okay because now we got to fix it. But you got to be willing to do the work to fix it. And we too quick to throw our hands up and walk away from some shit. Can't do that. It's too important right now. The labor fight, this NIL opportunity. These opportunities don't come around again. Some of these loopholes is happening because of other stuff that they really want to happen. That's gonna really shut you out of what this thing is when they finish it off. So make sure you setting yourself up for success. Make sure you're not missing chances at opportunities that's in your face. Don't miss your exit strategy. Looking over and fixing what somebody else is doing. Be informed. Be very informed. I'm gonna get off my soapbox and get on to the questions, but I gotta let y'all know, like, it's real out here. And let's get real. Why do you think the system is already panicking with folks like Saban and 47 pushing caps and controls before NIL has even reached its real full potential?
Well, that panic is about about the fear of losing control. For decades, you got a system that's profited off of black labor by keeping athletes dependent and powerless, and after their pro careers, 80% broke. So NIL is threatening that model. And the pushback for caps and federal oversight, that's just an attempt to maintain the old hierarchy, to contain black wealth before it begins to build generational power. And that's what we're seeing with, whenever you see, first it was, it's the wild, wild west, and, it's not no control. But in a lot of cases, you had these colleges, at least, in the SEC, you had a lot of colleges providing education for these young people, alerting them to tax situations and stuff like that to build money. So you can't say it was no wild, wild west with no controls over it. That wasn't necessary. And I was really disappointed that Saban, who's probably sitting back sucking on a mint julep right now, built all his wealth off of blacks, and then you want to turn around and you don't want these guys, to be able to have unlimited freedom, just like the court decision brought down, so that's all it is. They have always kept us out of the economy. That's their biggest fear, that one day we'll have an economy that they have no control of. They'll be falling all over themselves.
Exactly. Let's rewind the tape. Before we start celebrating NIL as liberation, and don't get me wrong, it can be. It definitely can be liberating if leveraged properly. We got to look at the plantation system. Athletes was locked in for decades. We've been talking to y'all about it. $40 million slave. William Roden talked about it. The conveyor belt. From age 8 to 9, you on this conveyor belt. The only way out, you gotta dribble a basketball or drop a hot track. AAU gyms, Pop Warner football, Babe Ruth baseball. It's the only way out. You can find them quicker than you can find a library or a trade school or anything in the hood. They can get you on the football field or a basketball court. Not necessarily even baseball, golf, tennis. They kind of keep you out of there. They can get you. They'll help you find your way to football and basketball right away. Training grounds, high school programs, holding pins. Division I arenas, the factory floor. The machine eats. The athlete, another product rolling down the line. And don't get me wrong, there are athletes who choose that route and go that route and find success. But with this new change, we could do something different. Every step of that belt is about control. It's about control disguised as opportunity. The NCAA perfected. They was just like, hey, you gonna do what we say, when we say, how we say. No wages, no rights, no voice. You want to play? Sign up. Scholarships and silence. Athletes filled stadiums. They sold the jerseys, brought in the TV deals. I mean, they built billion-dollar whole networks got built off college sports, professional sports. ESPN. Think about how powerful ESPN is right now. How many clips and highlights they show year after year, season after season. Athletes ain't made a dime off what they making millions on. Ain't even NCAA. ESPN is getting paid billions as the side chick in this thing. You hear me? When it came time to share the wealth, they was like, stay humble, be grateful. Don't question it. The media slap you with that selfish, ungrateful. And that's how they kept the conveyor belt running. Glory for a few, riches for the gatekeepers, broken dreams for many. And this is why the NIL is more than the payday. This is the disruption. It's to crack it cracks the conveyor belt wide open. It takes the power away from the NCAA, away from the coaches, the boosters, and puts it into the hands of the players where it should be, fueling the whole industry. But with the disruption comes the panic. That's when you see 47 and Nick running around. They thriving under the old model. What is Weez gonna do if they get out of this thing? And they're watching leverage slip, and the system is already moving to fortify its locks. NIL though just threaten their money. It threatens the control. Because now I don't have to just go play at the schools that you want me to play at. If you really want to have a deal with my name, image, and likeness, it don't matter what school I'm at. If it's about my talent. If it's about me. It don't matter what school I go to. I don't have to be at Alabama. I don't have to be at LSU. I could be at South Carolina. I could be at the HBCU. I could be at Alabama State. Right? And when you shake the foundation of a plantation economy, y'all, hey, the gatekeepers, they circle the wagons. Lil, break this down though. How did the NCAA and the media manage to sell exploitation as opportunity for so long without the public question?
You know, they made the degree the be all do all. They've just packaged the control as opportunity through the promise of a scholarship, exposure, and fame. And then the media reinforced the narrative by praising the compliance and then label the, if you're a dissenting, they was like, you just ungrateful, or you cocky, and we still seeing that today. So fans, they saw the spectacle, but they rarely questioned who profited off of it. And the system normalized exploitation as an American sport dream, just like they did legalize slavery. And it was just about you trading your labor for a scholarship to get a degree. But then you still, you walk out with a degree, you still looking for a job, if you didn't play professional sports. And you got to understand that out of 10 million people that play organized basketball, you only got 348 going professional. So everybody else doing, something other than that, but they were able to go and, see, they always do things through politics. And then we got these people running around. Nobody want to do politics, or politics is boring, or this, that, and the other. You getting smoked, pimped, played, hustled, taxed every single day through politics. Politics runs and interferes with every part of your life, especially your economic life. So it's important that you understand politics and you know how to go. Politics is about opportunity and resources. And we so politically dead that we don't even think about using politics to get what we need. And that's something that has to stop. We have to push politics, because that's the only way you go get your share, of the collective. It's through politics, through policy, through laws. That's just the way the country works. So, they was just slick about it. And they did it for damn near 100 years. I mean, and then they was like, look, we need another labor pool. Then they started looking at us, 1950s. And this is a Jim Crow era. You can't walk down the street and hold your head up if a white person walking past you. But now you want me on the field and the people in the stands, calling me all kind of names, cheering at the same time.
Yeah, not right now, but right now.
Yeah.
Right now. I need you right now. What's crazy, they are trying to devalue a degree. The the degree used to be the the prize. Now it's like you don't even need that.
No, you let me tell you something.
You better
degree. Look, you need skills out here. You can't run up in a job talking about, yeah, I sat in the classroom for 4 years, but I don't know how to do nothing. No, these people want you to be able to come into these jobs and perform the skill that you applied for. It's not about, I mean, I'm not saying a degree isn't important, because you have licensed industries where you do have to have a certain amount of schooling, to be a doctor, lawyer.
No, my thing is, if you're going to go there, get the paperwork. Don't leave there without the paperwork.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, you're going to make the money. Get the paperwork too. Why not? At this point, you got people that you can graduate. They graduate by the time they a junior. But get the paperwork, because see, they always flip the script. Right now, what's selling is skills.
Mm-hmm.
In a minute, you won't hire nobody but people with degrees. So make sure that you covered.
You cover both ways.
Keep your skills and paperwork around.
And you need to be taking courses that benefit you. If you're gonna be an entrepreneur, get that education.
Y'all better be out here learning some. Y'all better be out here learning some AI. You hear me? You better be out here learning some AI.
Facts.
Chicago Cheetah, what's happening? NIL is granted, and a blonde gymnast is able to capitalize more than any football and basketball player. Oh yeah, Lily Dunn got down. She got down. She got down on the NIL. I ain't gonna hold you. She got down. They're doing everything they can to take advantage of these ladies. Oh, I mean, we know how it go. And now that it's here, Lil, do you really see it as a break from that conveyor belt system, or is it just control repackaged?
Well, NIL it's a real break if the athletes and the communities use it strategically. You can't continue to just turn your child over to these mechanisms, like AAU, and allow them to turn the short-term earnings into long-term wealth for themselves. I mean, I was shocked when I did the little research and found out that the kiddie industry, the kiddie sport industry is almost 40 billion. I was like, what? But these children have to pay fees and for equipment and this, that, and the other. But are we as a community running those programs? Do we even have a little economy, at that lower level? The system is already trying to repackage the control with caps and regulations and bureaucracy oversight. So without conscious planning, as we're proposing here, NIL could be absorbed back into the same old pipeline, and it'll still be black labor, creating white wealth with a few people getting rich, and the rest of the community, kids being turned over on that conveyor belt. We got the same thing going on and on and on. And that's what will happen if we do not right now. It should have been 3 years ago. Put an infrastructure together in our own communities to monitor and manage our own athletes, as they go through the process of going to high, because they done got all the way down to high school. Few kids even putting up, athletic highlight reels on these platforms and stuff. They're down here little bitty marketing and monitoring our kids, and we're not benefiting from it.
We got young kids getting signed to Jordan, Adidas, Nike, Reebok, Curry Brand. I mean, they are. Don said, you average 2 points at a rebound, you can sit on and ask for 100,000.
Wow,
100,000 straight face. Yeah, I'm gonna need 100,000. 2 points, 1 rebound for what? So the opportunity is out there. The money is out there. We need to be educated so that we take the right money the right way, and protect it so that it grows and it sustains. And that's what this conversation is about. We're not having enough grown-up conversations around what it could be. I mean, listen, we quick to say how much somebody got on an NIL deal. We quick to say who signed where. We quick, but then from where? What do we do there? How we set these kids up for success. And some of these young people have great support systems around them, right? Some of them have great coaches in leadership and support at the schools they at, and then some of them out here winging it.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them out here winging it, you know, and it's a way to set this up so it doesn't have to break up the family or be a disruption. You know, we've had conversations with Rob the Man Media and Coach Dre, you know, to talk about how, you know, some of these kids get looked at as a payday right away.
Mm-hmm.
That first 100,000 to come in is gonna take care of whatever bills we was behind in the house and get mom and them together, and then we gonna see about you. And you got kids making life altering decisions at 19. You know, and we want to make sure that they are educated enough to make the very, very, very best decision. NIL is an economic revolution. You gotta just call it what it is. Before 2021, you couldn't get a free meal, get a pencil, a staple. You hear me? Let alone some gas money or a T-shirt. Don't you beat LeBron and would LeBron take some jerseys? They got mad they couldn't get they couldn't get LeBron about the when he had a Hummer for the summer. They couldn't get LeBron for the Hummer, so then they got pissed off and got him for the jerseys. Really? Some hardwood classic throwbacks, bro? You took his high school eligibility for that? Oh, control. You were smart enough to whatever happened. You were smart enough to have the paperwork together to make it to show that mama took a loan out to get that Hummer.
Mm-hmm.
You figured that out, or you gonna sit down about these jerseys we gave you? But I signed them. Former athletes can set up consulting businesses to help young athletes. They could. I don't know if the only former athlete that I really want to hear from though is the ones that still got some money. You know, I would be trying to talk to the Marshawn Lynch's and those that I've heard have made some really, really good decisions. Because some of these former athletes, they should have asked some of their homeboys in the locker room, homegirls in the locker room.
You ain't lying.
Straight up. That was kind of like they took the lock off the cage. Now that NIL is out here, they cutting endorsement deals, launching businesses, and building wealth while they still in school. That's a paradigm shift. That's not a rule change. That's a paradigm shift. Especially in football and basketball. NIL is flipping the script. They've always kind of been the engine, the faces of programs. The reason billion-dollar media checks get cut. But they wasn't seeing no money. Now they seeing the money. And that's power and profit in the hands of these young people that we need to make sure they're armed to be able to deal with. And that's the rise of a black athlete economy that doesn't hinge on going pro or waiting for the draft. Think about that. You can go to college, make $4 or $5 million and never even go pro. Now, I'm not saying that that's generational wealth, but it's a start if you use it right.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely a nice nest egg to kick something off. It definitely sets you up for success if invested wisely. And receipts is loud. You see Shador out there putting that watch up. You see him guided by Dion, and Dion, boy, if he'd been had NIL back then, the money he would have made before he even got to the NFL and Major League Baseball. He was a brand, walking brand. Still is. I can't take that pro. But I mean, Shador already made millions of deals. Gatorade, Beats by Dre, Flauché got a dual empire going on. LSU baller, Rock Nation rapper. I want to say she got over $4 million in NIL earnings. CEOs of their own empires, not just ballers, not just rappers. That's the revolution. They're no longer playing the game like it was set up. They kind of rewrite these rules right in front of us and owning their story, and that's what scares the old guard, I think, Will. So, and I think you kind of touched on it earlier, but how does media bias play into which athletes get celebrated for cashing in on NIL versus who get criticized?
Well, you mentioned you think about Livy Dunn. You know, the media, it just always, looking to center whiteness and market just certain images. And white athletes and those who fit what they call conventional narratives, they get celebrated. A lot of times black athletes will equal a greater influence or scrutinized or being told they cocky just like they doing Shadua now or a distraction. And that's not always about talent or money. It's about who the system kind of wants to uplift. And that's why we need more content creators. We need an army of soldiers that are out here fighting these narratives that the money is putting machine I mean, the machine is putting money behind to put out here on black athletes, so it's hard to, to do anything without a media image, because these corporations are looking for, when you represent their brand, they looking for you to have some media push, behind you. But, you can't really, it's not really something you can control, and you don't always want to be the subject of getting your media through controversy, although that, that can work because they say all PR is good PR, but you don't want that kind of narrative. And we used to have a large black media, and we don't have that anymore. I think it was Clinton that caused us to, he did some kind of a policy, where a lot of black media was eliminated, absorbed, into the white media machine. But now that we have the internet and the ability to, create content, I think a lot more people need to be joining the party, and helping our athletes, get the visibility and the shine online that we, where we might can't go to the ESPN, but the social media is a powerful entity, and we can level the playing field like that.
Lil, come on, let's talk about it for a minute. Yeah, let's talk about it. Okay, a lot of black media got cut out. Jet Magazine, Essence Magazine, Ebony Magazine, Black Enterprise. I don't know where they went. They ain't around no more, right? But the other thing that really irritates me, you got BET Her, you got BET, you got TV One. Black News Break, they don't tell it for 3 days. They don't break black news fast enough on these channels that they call black. Black Enterprise Television. Black News Break, somebody passed, something good happened. You can't go there and immediately have somebody pop on and give us that information. Black radio, dead. Black journalism, dead. You got to be able to carve this thing right back out right here where you said in this content creation space.
Mm-hmm. And that's because they done got into white corporate money. Once you get white corporate money behind you, then they start telling you what to do. Viacom had bought BET, and even TV One. I was just shocked. They don't own the ability to do nothing black. They get told to do them, good time reruns. Let's do some Stanford. Let's keep them laughing and joking, but they're not putting out any real information.
And then Oprah, you was my last hope on network.
Yeah,
that was my last hope. I sold it on out.
Yeah, and that's how they maintain control. So this is like social media is like the final frontier. We gotta start even trying to build some platforms. I know there's some there's a young man out trying to build a black social media platform.
What's his name? Byron Allen? Is that his name? They say you can't get nothing but a weather channel.
Not Byron Allen. It's another brother.
I'm saying that I think Byron Allen is the one they told you won't own nothing but a weather channel, sir. That is it. They didn't let his media really take off like how I think he wanted it to.
Yeah, because they used he tried to go through the political channel, and the Supreme Court put a halt on him. I mean, the level of disrespect, to us having the ability to tell our story is just really incredible. And I think hopefully we can secure these things through other global markets. You got the rise of continent of Africa. You got India on the move. You got China on the move, and of course, almost Brazil, places like that. We can't be afraid to leave home. We're gonna have to get into some other markets, to try to create wealth. Because here in this country, which you got the empire, kind of in decline. But I think this era right here in the next 5 years, that's gonna be the last chance for people, ordinary people, to try to make a move to secure themselves, financially, and create generational wealth. This empire closes out that you're gonna ever have that opportunity again. Yeah.
Oh yeah, times isn't changing. That's for sure. Times isn't changing. Africa's on the move. Oh yeah, for sure.
Young population too. That's why Nike over there right now.
Oh yeah. Let's get into the pushback, because whenever Black freedom expands, power respond quick. Be quick. The play on full display. Yeah, like I said, Nick Saban, he was one of the most powerful coaches in college football, aligned with 47, and they pushed through a federal executive order to roll back some of that NIL freedom, override the Supreme Court, erase state protections, and put the athlete earnings back under the microscope of Washington power brokers. Why? Strip away freedom, re-centralize control. This ain't about fairness. It's not integrity of the game. Don't hear none of that. That's cover story. This is about money, influence, racialized labor pipeline, keeping the racialized labor pipeline intact so that Black talent continues to fuel white wealth. So who's cashing the biggest NIL checks in football and basketball? Black athletes? For the most part, it's a lot of them. And for Saban at 47, but we don't know what white athletes' checks look like. But Black athletes is cashing some big checks, and that got some eyebrows on. Saving at 47, Black wealth that isn't overseen, taxed, rationed through their hands is unacceptable. So they don't want athletes free. They want athletes back on that plantation, grateful for the crumbs. And the dangerous part, it's not just sports politics. It's a civil rights politics. This is civil rights. We see the playbook: change the rules, centralize control, manufacture fear, lock out Black progress, reframing NIL as chaotic or unfair so they can strip it away. The truth is simple: NIL isn't breaking the game; it's breaking athletes free of the game's old chains. It's shaking the very core of how this thing was set up, and that's why the panic, the pushback. I ain't never seen people so worried about what's going on in college sports until right now. People start posting a few cars, few houses. See me, they better know. They better be glad I wasn't an athlete that they was gonna talk to. Because by the time I finished college, I have $5 million in the bank. I have some kind of house that I like enough paid for in case I don't get another, and I would have a car that I could drive for a few more years that is paid for, and then I go from there. Whether I go pro or start a career doing something else, I would have a degree, I would have a house, I would have a car, I would have some money in the bank, and I would be debt free. If those aren't if you're not walking away from college as an NIL athlete with those things, you'd have messed it up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like Don said, you need some kind of 401k. You got to make sure whatever money it is that you go get, you better compound it. Only. And if you don't know what compound means, then you need to get your ass in a financial literacy course quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you out here playing in the NIL streets and you don't know words like compound and that, hey, you need to get on back in the classroom. You're not ready to be out there yet.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all need to have lawyers that y'all trust when you going to have these conversations. I think the sports owners are upset about the NIL. You think the sports owners are upset about the NIL? Sure they are. But if they partner right, everybody can eat. But see, that's because people don't want everybody to talk. I want everybody to eat. No, they don't. They want to eat.
Mm-hmm.
And they want to eat the leftovers and the scraps and the crumbs. What they don't don't pick my plate for me. Just like you sit at the table with your menu, I want to sit at the table with my menu. Order what you gonna get, and I'm gonna order what I'm gonna get. Don't give me the crumbs. I find it hypocritical that these coaches are complaining about this. The only reason why they're complaining about this is because they can't control the athletes. Now, of course, owners always want 100% control. But the coaches been profiting off their name, image, and likeness for years. Or nobody complaining except me. I get irritated every time I see Coach K in a commercial with Dawn Staley. It irritates me because she a goat on her own. I didn't need to be in the commercial. I ain't in every commercial you in, so I don't need a guest appearance in every commercial I do. I'm Dawn Staley. I can do a commercial by myself. I'm so glad that she doing when she throw the alley up to the Aflac duck now. The owners are upset because they can't control you. Yeah, But who want to control somebody all day? That's a sickness to me.
Yeah, and they can't abuse you either. The fact that you could jump in the portal, so you ain't got to take no whipping, no embarrassment, no humiliation. You don't like the program, you can say adios, take my talent elsewhere. That's what they can't stand.
But listen, power never concedes without a fight, and so we got to be ready to fight. But Lil, you drew the parallel about voter suppression and NIL suppression. So break that down for us, how these tactics, I guess, mirror each other and why they always target black progress first.
You know what? Both of them tactics, they centralize control. In a minute, they'll change the rules and they try to limit access. Just like voter suppression was keeping black communities from full political participation, NIL pushback, that's targeting black athletes in economic independence. That's what they're doing. So the system acts first when black progress threatens established power and wealth. Long as Livy was out there flipping and making her money, everybody was quiet as a mouse. When Flaw J blew up, when Angel, was making money and wasn't apologizing for being black, oh, they flipping out.
Don't forget the Capital twins.
Mm-hmm.
NIL is a form of generational wealth. Yes, if used properly, yeah, absolutely, it can be.
I mean, they getting big bags now.
Libby got down, bro. She got down.
Look, they got young folks, college career be worth 13, 14, 15 million dollars over the course of their 4 or 5 years. Yes, that's generational. That's a generational wealth cake if you bake it right.
Libby Dunn got paid like she's a gold medalist, man. She wasn't no Mary Lou Retty. You hear me? She wasn't nowhere near being on no Weeds box. And that's not a knock on her. She definitely secured her bag. So did them Capital twins.
Oh yeah, they had a ball.
They weren't going pro. They were never going pro. I didn't see pro basketball in their future. Not in the dub. But they leveraged the opportunity, and that's what we got to make sure we set our young people up to do. Do you see the Saban 47 move as just politics, or is it part of a bigger agenda to keep black athletes locked out of true wealth and power?
Look, we've been here over 400 years, and that's always been the goal. There was a law one time, a declaration that said that blacks would never enjoy the fruits of white society. So they always been trying to keep us down and out. And it's bigger than politics. It's about protecting a racialized economic hierarchy. And so by capping these earnings or trying to control these deals, they're trying to maintain the old pipeline. They want to keep black athletes dependent. That's the same way it was on the plantation. They want to keep you dependent on them so that every move you make, you have to depend on them. And they want to keep the situation where it's just profitable for others, but not for you. So without ownership, you don't have generational impact. You can't pass down something you don't own. So if Flaw J have children, she got land she could pass to them. These people that's these athletes setting up these brands. Look how Angel was able to set her mother up, retire her. And her mother has enough looks to get out here. And I'm sure that at some point when Angel has a makeup company, shoot, her mama gonna be rocking, rocking the older women, being the face of that brand. And she's in a position where she can help her family. If her brother doesn't, have a pro career, she's still in a position to put him on the runway. So these things are critically important.
Shoot, they can model her line right now. Mama can model for the old folks. He can model for the men. Well, not old folks, but
But I'm sure mother in a maybe
season,
40.
More seasoned. The salt and pepper crowd. But I mean, you think about that though too, Lil. You could What the other thing that you should be doing, right? Why you got this opportunity is you may or may not go pro. You may or not stay healthy enough in college to even have a pro career, right? But your brand is your brand. Whatever your brand is, you build that around whatever your sport is and your passion, so that whenever you're finished with basketball, that brand is still there. Your passion is still there, whether that's whatever that is, podcasting, Legos, writing books, whatever that is.
I mean, opportunities just open up.
Mm-hmm. I believe I feel the NIL is forcing the WNBA to pay the players. No, the players gonna force them to pay them. You gonna pay me what you owe. Don't have nothing to do with the NIL. It got to do with you lied to me in 2020. We gonna open up these books this time. We gonna get right to it. COVID kind of hit. They got kind of scary. We ain't got time. Ain't nothing gonna distract us this time. We get to the money. We through playing around. Appreciate them youngsters. Now with the NIL. What the NIL is going to do is force the WNBA to sit at the table different. See, Angel and Camilla and them, that group was one group. Paige and them was another group. But Flau'jae is the group that's going to come in. Flau'jae is coming in probably by the time she finished college with whatever, 4 million, 5 million, 6 million she's made in NIL. Plus, you'll probably have two at least, I think she said developments, 20-acre developments, affordable housing developments. So she's not just coming in as a brand. She's coming in with a bankroll. She's coming in with partnerships. She's doing business out here outside of the WNBA. I don't need your platform to connect me to anything, but let me see what my platform can help you do. See, now now we got to collaborate. Now you can't dictate.
Right.
Now open up the books. Now we got to have transparency. Do y'all really want that? Are y'all ready for that? That's the thing. Marshawn brand still working because it was authentic. I'm just here so I won't get fined. I don't say nothing I don't want to say. I don't dance unless I like the song. I don't laugh unless it's funny. and that's how Marshawn been. You see this B on my hat? Beast mode for sure. Love the brand. Love the man. My favorite. My absolute favorite. Across all industries. My absolute favorite. Marshawn Lynch. Money Lynch don't play around. Angel, Paige, Flau'jae. They ain't going to be desperate for money. They can sit it out until, everybody's going to be able to sit it out. Do you think NIL is going to force the owners in the WNBA to go to the table and open up revenue share for the players? Yeah, I don't know if they're at revenue share in the W. I don't know if they're at revenue share in the W. I think what it's gonna do is drive the BRI to be 48 to 50%, or rotating like it is in NBA. That's what I think. But the thing is, now you got to collaborate with them. You'll $60,000-$70,000. You won't buy the car I'm driving.
It's about partnership now. We partners. We gonna make money together. You're not gonna make money off me.
Hey, partner. What's up, partner? Yeah, hey, partner. Yeah. The Dub is growing very well. Just don't like Caitlin Clark racist fans. And I don't think that they're Caitlin Clark fans as much as they are stands. People acting like they're fans to push racial bullshit. I think the government trying to get involved in capital NIL has to do more with black and brown athletes than, of course, that's more black and brown athletes. Of course. But it's not just a policy shift, it's a transfer of power. Black athletes, they got direct access to monetizing their own value. What do they call it? The federal NIL framework. That's what they're lobbying Congress for. Partners, not brothers. Partners. Gotta be partners. That sounds harmless. Federal NIL framework. It's not harmless. No, it's not. It's not harmless at all. It's a play to cap athletes' earnings and dictate how the deals get done and who the deals get made. Because see, the thing that I don't like is what they're going to do is they're going to look at your deal, anything over $600, and say, is that a real business deal? Are you really selling a product? Are you really selling a service? How are you going to define what products and services are needed in my community? Could force some players to form investment groups and own a franchise. They've been trying to do that, Antonio. They keep just blocking them. We see y'all partnered up. No, thank you. If the WNBA got $250 million to try and buy the Sun, they definitely need to open a book. Man, they got all the way up to like $400 million. They had to tell the people no. They introduced 4 teams at least 50 million. Valks told y'all they up over what, 500?
I mean, they shot out. They built a model. Goodness, shot out the gates.
Do you two believe that the NIL should go further than it actually is when it comes to paying college athletes in general? I don't know what you mean. What I think that the NIL should do is just stay out of people's money. If I close a deal using my name, image, and likeness to sell a product that I'm comfortable with, what you worried about it for?
Right.
The NBA don't sit down in your Nike shoe deal. The NBA don't sit down to see how your Gatorade deal is going. That's your business. That's between you and your agent. What you sticking your nose in my business for? That's what I think.
Yeah, because these not children. These people
I'm a
grown up.
You gonna tax me like a grown up? I got to pay bills like a grown up. What are we doing? Y'all don't sit down and negotiate with Coca-Cola for me. It ain't me and my agent and the NBA in there making sure that I'm good on my endorsement deals. So what do I need you in my name, image, and likeness deal for?
And then we not supervising and monitoring corporate deals. Ain't nobody in the room when Trump doing his Trump Tower deals. Who watching him, making sure he pay his taxes?
Yeah, I'm really not clear. WNBA got some good players. I love Asia Wilson. Oh yeah, we Asian fans over here. My concern with players are getting deals. No problem with coaches did the same. Nobody sitting down, seeing what your Aflac deal is. The NCAA is still getting involved with NIL, saying it's illegal. You're gonna try to take away the money from the athletes now. I think the NCAA got tried to move away from collectives to revenue sharing, and they're issuing checks and turning athletes into state employees. It looked like. Make sure you get your holiday pay. That's what I'm gonna say. When the school cut that check, make sure you get your holiday pay. Make sure that, okay? It's about protecting their monopoly, y'all. And the media is playing a part in this too. And it's crazy because every week NIL is out of control. NIL is running college sports. Who gets to define too much? Who is defining too much? Livy Dunn did her thing. Shador got $4 million. They were like, oh, it's too much going on down here at the college. I didn't hear it being too much till Flauché let it slip. She had 20 acres.
Mm-hmm. Right, using her money wisely. She ain't bought a $20 million car, but she got 20 acres. They flipping out now.
She'd have did something silly like take a trip to see the Titanic. They wouldn't have stopped reporting it. Oh, Flauché's on her way to see the Titanic. She's gonna take her NIL and take a trip to the Titanic. Silliest shit ever. Well, no, she didn't do no silly shit with her money. Now y'all mad.
Mm-hmm.
What we need to investigate some of the shady collectives actually to take advantage of the athletes. Sure, that needs to happen. But before I go wasting time investigating them, I would rather educate.
Mm-hmm.
So that people don't get caught up in shady deals. So yeah, somebody can go chase them, but my interest right now is educating. Because I think it's more people in need of education than it is this Miss Scam. Angel says she has way more than reported. Yeah, you're not gonna count my coin. Why? Why would I do that? The purity of the game, that's coded language, y'all. That's fear of athlete autonomy and really fear of Black autonomy. But the talk of professionalizing college sports, it sounds like progress. Stop it. No, it's a trap. More bureaucracy, more restrictions, more ways to tax cap, control NIL. Don't go for it. Institutions adapt quick. Rebranded exploitation under banners of fairness and order. NIL cracked open the truth, and that's the thing. You can't put it back. Can't put this jack back in the box. Athletes don't need the system nearly as much as the system needs them, and they can't get that back. It's like some came out. They trying to get that. It ain't going back in the box. They ain't going back in the box. They know it now. We know it now. And pressure. The real threat, shaking the sports industrial complex. Okay, that's what it is. So if Congress passes a federal NIL framework that caps earnings, is that protecting athletes or protecting institutions? And then who benefits most from that?
Is protecting the institution, not the athletes. A federal framework with caps, that's shifting the control back to the NCAA, athletic departments, and corporate sponsors, while you limiting the economic freedom of every athlete who generates revenue. And that benefits power brokers who have historically profited off of black labor without giving back. The athletes see short-term gains, and then the long-term wealth and generational impact are curtailed. You keeping the same economic hierarchy in place, keeping that, because that make America great again is always about making America return to the plantation, and that's all about pimp playing and hustling you. So heck no, they don't need to pass no federal NIL framework under the guise of protecting athletes, because that's not what they doing. Not at all.
Exactly. And I see you saying that you think they need to sign with agents like Drew Rosenhaus for what? Go get you a lawyer. Pay that lawyer to review your contract, sign it, and move on. I don't need to keep paying an agent percentage after percentage after percentage for what? I'm gonna sign one deal, and then when this one run out, I'll sign another one. And if that's in 4 years, I'll go back and see my lawyer. There is no reason for me to give you 30% on top of 30% on top of 30% time month after month. We ain't negotiating. And the only reason I say that is because the most successful deals that I know about, they weren't agent led. Michael Jordan shoe deal at Nike, his mama did that. Lamar Jackson deal with the Ravens, his mama did that.
Made us $7 million.
What's that man name? Was Little something. Jason Weaver. What they offered him, 100,000. His mama said, "No, we'll take a lifetime of residuals. You think this might be big?" That boy ain't had to do a movie ever no more. Ever. He act when he want to act. You hear me? He act when he want to act. I was so glad to see him in the shot because he wanted to, not because he had to. His mama built generational wealth from the gate, and they didn't need no agent for that. You know what's crazy? I don't know what their education was. Michael Jordan mama hadn't been to no college, got no all them degrees and stuff. She did what made sense. I'm sorry, they offered him $1 million. My bad, Groovy. Not 100,000, $1 million. My bad. No, thank you. We'll take the generational wealth. And they told him, you won't get a deal till you get an agent. Matter of fact, you got to pay one of these agents. He said, I beg your pardon. I bet I won't. You won't spend my money for me. If you want this black excellence on your field, you're gonna meet me where I'm at. We might not know what to do with the money when we get it. We need some advice with that. But no, I don't need you to help me figure out how much coin I'm worth. I'm gonna tell you what my worth is. We gonna talk about it as a family. Yeah, I beg your pardon. Yeah. Yeah. Crazy. Yeah, not today. Not today. You won't dictate that for me. Why people want these kids to get more agents has more to do with the institutional control that they can have over the kid because they don't like what Lamar just did. It could be, but it don't matter. Cause see, and then it's the type of agent that you get. Rich Paul making money hand over fist, hand over fist, hand over fist. You know why? Because it seems like he treats his people right. He cut good deals for his people. They try to make Rich check some boxes. He said, "Yeah, again, I beg your pardon. You will not make a new rule about me. That ain't been the rule."
Yeah, tell me you had to have a degree. I done made $50 million. What I need a degree for?
Yeah, I can tell I done made more money in the few years I've been doing this than some of y'all that got the degree been doing this thing. Let me tell you what I did. See? Don't give a shit what they like. Pay my work. Pay my work. He won't get a shoe, he will get his shoe. They will wear the shoe because it is his. Meanwhile, Magic and them is over there sharing different color schemes of the same shoe at Converse. Remember? The weapons? Everybody had a weapon. It was a purple and gold one. It was a green and white one. Everybody had one. He would get his own shoe, and they would wear that shoe because it's his. And they still wear that shoe now because it's his. And some of these shoe deals, you give some. You gotta be careful with some of them too. But the first college sports period, yeah, I had the purple and gold weapons too. Magic gave it to me himself for being the most improved college camper, for being the most improved camper. Because I cut up the year before at educational camp. But I sure appreciated him doing the education camp. I think that rule for Rich is guilt by association. It's more to do with LeBron than Rich himself. Why? What they mad at LeBron for? LeBron wasn't trying to be the agent.
He was getting them in the rooms. That's what they couldn't stand. He had sense enough to get them in the rooms.
Shaq had his shoes at Walmart eventually. Them first shoes wasn't there. The Reeboks wasn't there. The Shaqs was there. The Reeboks wasn't at Walmart. You know, and then did you ever have the Larry Bird, Chuck Taylor? No. No. And the only reason I had the weapons was because Magic gave them to me. I've always been a Nike, Jordan, yeah. Nike for sure. Air Max, Cortez, that was me. Jordans. Couple Reebok classics when they had the little card where you got them for $25. But you know, not really. Couple Adidas, Stan Smiths, not really. Nikes. All those little children was wearing them. Yeah, that's cool. You know, I look at LeBron and it's like, Asia finally got a shoe from Nike. But before Asia got a shoe, she was wearing LeBron. Y'all know that?
Yep, sure was.
I didn't see a lot of support from LeBron. I just didn't see it. That's why I'm not really excited about Juju wearing the LeBron PE. I don't understand why these women got to get a male PE. Why they not wearing Cheryl Swoops PE or somebody else PE? Why LeBron's? Just a thought. Never mind. College sports purity though. Is that really about tradition or is that coded language aimed at controlling black athlete autonomy, Lil?
You know, it's coded language and that's designed to maintain the control. See, purity sounds neutral. But it's invoked when black athletes are leveraging their talent for wealth or influence and you know, making the system appear as if they the moral authority over somebody's earnings, over these athletes' earnings. You know, in reality, it's about restricting black autonomy and framing independence as disruptive. When has independence ever been disrupted? So the goal, like I said, they here to preserve that old system where the institution profits while the athlete remains dependent and controlled. You know, and that, you know, no matter what they tell you in the back rooms, you know, in the shade, in the cigar smoking room, it's all about the mastery of control. And that's what they trying to invoke, you know, around the college sports purity. College always been a pimp playing and hustling system. It ain't never been about purity or anything, you know.
Never.
So, at all. And never, even when they was able to do, you know, them under the table deals, take care of mama mortgage, and it's always been about a hustle. You know, it ain't no different than the street game out here, drug game. You know, street hustles, same thing. You know, anytime you exploit anything, ain't no purity nowhere in that. You know.
Man, I love these conversations. I know we got WNBA hoops coming up, so we're gonna get ready to wrap it up. But I wanted to talk about the fact that NIL is more than a payday. It's the potential, and I got to drive this home because it's the potential foundation for a black economic revolution. When structured right, these deals go beyond endorsements. Sorry, y'all. They can fuel black-owned banks, tech companies, media ventures, housing co-ops, and youth programs. That's how short-term earnings turn into generational wealth, right? We need families and whole communities working together to reshape economic power. Politically, you put it plain. Stars like Asia, Flage Shador, they're modeling this play. Leveraging NIL, not for the bag, but for giving back. Investing in youth, building family brands, opening doors for others. But the key is it takes the infrastructure, financial advisors, Black-owned investment networks, and mentorship pipelines. That's how the athletes convert peak earnings years into long-term wealth and influence. That's where we got to go. Yeah, them A1s is out selling like hotcakes. NIL is just a launch pad. It's not the finish line. Fans, communities, institutions, we got to show up. Support Black-owned NIL ventures. Create educational pathways that prep athletes as business owners and investors. So mentorship, planning, community backing. NIL evolves from individual deals into collective engine for liberation. And that's the blueprint for what Political Lil is calling Black Wall Street 2.0. And so you mentioned that NIL can become a pipeline for long-term community wealth. How do we ensure athletes are equipped to turn those earnings into those lasting investments, Lil?
The first thing you got to do is you got to equip them young with financial literacy, business education, and access to trusted advisors. You know, NIL checks become powerful, but that's only if the athlete knows how to invest in equity, real estate, and businesses that benefit their family and communities.
On my Instagram, sorry, y'all. How can mentorship, education, and infrastructure help scale NIL from individual deals into a movement like Black Wall Street?
Well, you know, mentorship and education, that teaches the athlete to think beyond the one-off deals. You know, so if you got a proper infrastructure, especially community-based, of mentors, advisors, you know, investment systems, then NIL can build generational wealth. It could transform neighborhoods, and it could create a self-sustaining Black economic ecosystem. And that's what we're in desperate need of.
So I got a question for the audience. If the athletes had the right guidance and community support, how would you want to see NIL earners reinvested to create lasting impact in your neighborhoods and communities? Y'all let us know that. And I'm going to put that in the chat too. Make sure I put that in the chat. Sorry, y'all, I'm getting some weird messages over here. I think the issue is too that there's not a lot of investment banks in the United States or financial institutions running owned by the Black and brown communities. What do we do about that, though, Anthony? That's a great point. What do we do about that? But the fight to protect the Black athlete economy ain't just on the athletes. It's on all of us. And y'all know we always got a call to action before we finish these things. So defend and expand local and state NIL laws that shield athletes from federal overreach. I mean, y'all got to track lawmakers. You got to put some work in. Show up at school board meetings. Write letters. Voting like NIL rights are civil rights. Vote like NIL rights are civil rights. They are, because that's what they are. Economic justice, the right to own your name, your image, your future. The next layer is financial literacy. Athletes and families need tools to flip short-term earnings into long-term wealth. Contracts, investment strategies, business creation, credit building. It shouldn't just be flashy endorsements or Instagram fame. It got to be seed money. It's got to be looked at that seed money towards generational wealth. With the right infrastructure, guidance, mentorship, them checks turn into community shaping projects, opportunities to go way beyond a career. Political will always cut through the noise. The community is both amplifier and protector. Fans must stay vigilant against media narratives calling young Black athletes spoiled or ungrateful. Support athlete-led content. Support leagues like Rival, Overtime Elite. Support Black-owned media. That's how we shift the attention and dollars back into the community. And this ain't about letting old systems reassert control. This is about building our own doors, creating an infrastructure that locks Black economic power for generations to come. Got to lock it in. How can fans, families, and community leaders actively protect and expand NIL rights for athletes, Lil?
You know what, they're going to have to, they can engage in advocacy. Like you were saying, you know, you got to go to the school board meetings. You got to, you know, get with your lawmakers, your local council people. You gotta vote with NIL rights in mind and support local and state policies that safeguard athlete autonomy. And fans and communities, they can also amplify and invest in athlete-led brands to strengthen their economic power. So, all of these things, branch out from getting together behind NIL. And I think you ought to have community everywhere you got sports in our community, just like you have the community local meeting, tackling, property taxes and this, that, and the other. You gotta start including that. Our colleges, every year there should be NIL summits. There should be a constant education program. For any athletes. You high schools, like in Chicago, it's 556 schools. They broken into regions. Each region should have an NIL summit or education program. You got tens of thousands of athletes in every sport, because we're just not talking about basketball and football. You got track out here making serious money, and other sports. And so, we got to get together as a people and get our organizations on point, with helping our athletes to make sure that wealth is not just seeping out of our community.
Absolutely. Okay, look, y'all, if you didn't know before, you know now. It was never about NIL, about contracts or court cases. Freedom, agency, legacy. Control is the issue. Control of one's labor and one's destiny, like William C. Rowland told us. That line is alive right now. NIL fight, it's about the same thing. It's always been about keeping black folks out the driver's seat while we keep powering the engine. From the cotton fields to the courtroom, from the locker room to the boardroom, we've seen this before. But this time is different. Knowledge, platforms, power. We didn't have those before. We got them now. And we got to use them. We got to use them wisely. Protect that power, multiply it, and pass it on.
Yep, that's right, Auntie, because what they fear the most isn't just a rich athlete. It's a conscious, connected, and unbought athlete. One who owns their image, controls their story, and uplifts their people. And that's what NIL can make possible. And that's why they're trying to shut it down. And this is about more than college sports. It's about black futures. And the only way to defend that future is to stay woke, stay loud, and stay ready.
Y'all know this is more than a podcast. It's a movement for us. We keep the fire burning on our next episode. We're going into the high school edition. What parents and students need to know. Y'all tell the parents and students in y'all life about this episode coming up, so that they could be here to hear the conversation and check out the recorded episode. If you know a high school athlete, even if they ain't in your family, a parent, mentor, coach, whoever, make sure they locked in, because this combo could change how they approach the game and the business of the game. Here's your play this week, y'all. I need y'all to like this episode, tell 10 people, drop a comment, subscribe so you don't miss the next drop, and share this episode with somebody who needs the game. The game ain't changed. We did. The game ain't changed. We did. Sports is never just about the games we play. It's about the stories we tell and the change we create together. This has been another Deep Dish of Cess Talk Sports. BY's Polysports Tea Time. Serve hot where the playbook meets the politics. Y'all know what it is. It's political ill. Cess Talk Sports. Y'all stay tuned. Talk soon. We out, y'all.